I mean, I thought, I mean, with I don't know his name, but SVG with him doing what he did there, I mean, that was, you know,
I,
unbelievable.
it was
But
unbelievable. It's Shane Van Gisbergen, by the way.
yeah, Shane, that's his name.
Nobody in this world was expecting that he would win that race. And when I heard the news, I remember thinking that's probably the biggest upset, probably since Trevor Bayne won the Daytona 500 in his very first start, I believe. That was
Right.
the biggest upset in a long time.
Being upset, but I'm not surprised because the cars he drives down whatever
Australia.
or Australia, whatever, they're big, heavy cars. They're not identical, but they're similar to what he's already driving. And down there, all the races are road courses. There's whatever. A lot of them are Grand Prix tracks or the concrete canyons as they call them. So he's used to that environment. So he had the upper edge on all those other drivers. Because look at him at Indy, he was just there. He's just another driver there on like a permanent road course where you can see the whole track. You can go down the straightaway and see your point in, your apex, and your turn out, and you can see the next straightaway and the next turns up ahead. So that's where like your whatever regular cup drivers where you are used to seeing, the whole perspective. They're not used to just seeing a straightaway and a turn, but then nothing else after because the wall is blocked. You can't see ahead. So that's what SVG had to his advantage, that he's used to going into corners blind, so to say, only seeing like where to turn in, and then when you get around the corner, see where it's got. So he was comfortable with that and comfortable running up against the wall, going on a street course versus being on a road course. So the other guys are probably more comfortable on the road course because they can see the whole entire track. They can see the whole turn as they approach it, not just being like seeing where you pretty much break and then turn in and you can't see where you're going to exit until you're actually mid corner. So that's like I wasn't really surprised how he was able to just outdrive everyone because it's just that's his environment that he's used to because that's what they run down there a lot of the courses are street courses.
It was absolutely incredible. And you know what else? I think he was the first Cup driver or a Cup Series road course ringer to win since Mark Donohue. And I think he was the first NASCAR road course ringer win since Boris Said, I believe, when he won Montreal a few years ago.
Yeah, yeah, that was yeah. I remember watching Boris Said get in the car. Yeah, because like Boris said, he came from Trans Am, and you know, again another big car, similar, full body car. So
Yeah, for sure. So, how do you think your journey can impact millions of race fans? This is the last question, by the way.
how my journey can impact million race fans? Um, I don't know. I mean, it's just every driver has their own story. I mean, have their own passion for it and their own desire, to race as long as they can. I mean, I myself, I mean, like I said earlier, I'm a competitor even to this day. I still am a competitor. Put me on the 405 freeway here in rush hour traffic. I'm still trying to like pass cars, and they're looking ahead like what lane's faster to get into. Almost like if you're on a racing at Daytona, you got the whole train of cars. You're just trying to pick which cars to drive. So looking at the 405 freeway when you're going bumper to bumper, you're watching which lane's going quicker. So you just kind of maneuver yourself over that one and that one. But yeah, so I don't know. I mean, like I said, I didn't grow up from a family from motorsports. No one in my family ever were competitors in the aspects of dirt bikes or cars or off road cars. It's just something that my family or my dad and I, and mom, started when I was a young kid, riding dirt bikes and ATVs, and just wanted to race, and eventually did that in junior high school and high school, and it just evolved from there. So you don't have to be a second or third or fourth generation driver to get into a sport that you want to do. It just, my only advice is kind of like what I was taught from a few professional motocross guys in the earlier stages, was that you just have to surround yourself around the best in the sport, whether it's equipment, knowledge, drivers, and mechanics. You just got to get to know everybody, meet and greet, and just find out who's winning and who's the champions, and be friends with them, because all those people will help you and guide you in the right direction. I mean, that's what happened with me. I mean, like I could sit here talking forever and everything, and say that my first race was racing an ATV at Ascot Park, which is a dirt track out here in Gardena, California, which was owned by JC Agajanian. I would never know at that time, as a young 15-year-old in 1986, that 15 years later, his son, Cory Agajanian of Motorsports Management, would be representing me as one of his drivers. So, it just, that's a short story of just meet and greeting people. But, that's kind of like how my connections all evolved and everything. And then you start connecting and grouping around who you all know. And, because you never know where you'll end up. But like I said, I'm at Ascot Park, and a lot of guys went from that dirt track to Indy back in the 60s and 70s and 80s. Well, I went the other way, from not driving TQs or sprint cars or whatever. I went from driving Friday night motocross at Ascot Park to Indy. So it's kind of like the same start at the same track, but a different vehicle.
Yeah, for sure. So where can people find you?
I'm just on Facebook and just on Instagram.
Okay.
So just kind of like, I've been around, and, I've been doing, during the whole COVID thing, I kind of, when we were locked down, had to stay home and everything, like everybody else, you got kind of bored. So I just kind of got involved just with lately over the years, the past couple of years, whatever, during the whole lockdown, that I have a son now. He's 13. So when he was 11, I bought him an ATV. And so I figured that's something that we can do. And I've been, for a while, I don't know, years, been talking about wanting to get another quad and everything, but a two-stroke, an old school, like I used to race, like a Honda Four Tracks. And I finally did that during COVID. So I've been kind of collecting them, just like getting like really nice 88s and 89 250Rs, which I have a big collection of them right now. But so that kind of brought me back to my very beginning. So I've been on a couple like ATV podcasts. I think one was ATV Talk with Leonard Duncan, and I put together a reunion with all the legend ATV racers from back then. Because like when ATV racing started in '85, when Suzuki introduced the quad racer,
Mm-hmm.
that's when they all made a transition from three-wheelers to four-wheelers. And then Mickey Thompson picked them up for their series. So I got all the legends from back then, like I don't know, like Gary Denton, 8-time national champion, Brian Fry, Barry Calparis, Curtis Sparks, Jimmy White. I got us all together and had some friends with all those guys too. So I put together the 80s ATV Legends reunion like back in March, and we just had a good time. And some of us guys haven't seen each other since the 80s. Like Dean Sando was there. I haven't seen him probably since then. And Mike Coe was there. And these guys are all like top three-wheeler, factory riders from back then that jumped into quad racing. So I've been kind of around with motorsports, or again, kind of back in that, just kind of like making myself present again, I guess. So I mean, with that involvement, that putting that reunion together. So I've been in that shadow stuff, and I did a SVRA back in 16 and 17 for that Indy Legends race that they held at the Speedway. So I'm still around. I'm still could be seen someplace at a track. I go to Indy every year too because they have a Legends Day there, which is the day before the 500.
Ah, okay. Really good on you, man. That's really good that you're keeping yourself present. So, yeah, that's all we have for now, but we thank you for coming on.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me on your podcast, and it's awesome.
Thank you, man. We appreciate it, and you're awesome too. You have a great journey in racing.
All right, you too.
Yep. So, everybody, please hit like and subscribe on this video. Check out Cory on his Facebook and Instagram, and we'll see you next week for the next episode of Stories from Motorsports.